Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a comparison between the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10 in 2022 and see which one is the better one. Now, the iPhone 10 is definitely the better phone, but there is quite a bit of a price, difference in these in the used market. So if you want to pick these things up, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, these iPhones both came out in 2017, and these were actually very, very different iPhones. Internally, they are almost the same. There's a little bit of a difference, but externally, they couldn't be any different. When you look at something like the iPhone 8, yeah, the iPhone SE3 has the same body, but this is a very dated design. From like the first iPhone to this one, it kind of looks the same. Obviously, it's bigger and much better, but I mean, it's pretty crazy. You had a 4.7-inch panel on this one, top bezel, bottom bezel with Touch ID right here on the home button. And this was what we were familiar with in 2017. But looking at this iPhone now, like I mentioned, it is a little bit of a dated design. It doesn't look ugly, it doesn't feel ugly, but it just looks a little bit dated, which there's nothing wrong with that. With the iPhone 10, on the other hand, we have a beautiful 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display, and this is a really good panel. I'm still a humongous fan of the way this screen looks, and like I mentioned, I don't have that much to complain about with this type of panel, with this type of bezel. The newest iPhones still look pretty much the same as this thing. This one's a little bit smaller, doesn't have promotion or anything, but it still looks really, really good in my opinion. So the outside definitely wins on the iPhone 10. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness, the iPhone 10 I think is a little bit thicker than the iPhone 8, but they still feel like very, very thin phones, especially nowadays with like the 13 Pro Max. These iPhones feel pretty thin, and I think the iPhone 8 is definitely a little bit smaller in size, but you can't really notice them. You kind of notice a little bit, but you don't really notice if you're not thinking about it. And on the back, we have glass backs on both of these iPhones, which, as I mentioned before, feel and look very good. Both these things feel very premium. They both have wireless charging, which is for better or for worse. They both have IP certification. There's a little bit of difference on the camera setup, though. The iPhone 10 has that dual camera setup, a wide and a telephoto lens. The iPhone 8, on the other hand, has only that wide angle lens. They kind of have the same capability, 4K at 60 on the back, 1080p on the front, but definitely when it comes down to it, something like the iPhone 10 feels way more premium. And I think most people know this by now. When you hold something like the iPhone 10, I'm still surprised how premium this iPhone still feels. And I think going in the future, this thing is only going to be getting better throughout time. So with the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8, that's kind of how they compare, at least on the outside. Now, another big thing is with the software. Now, it couldn't be any closer because these iPhones have the same chipset inside. We are realistically going to be getting the same type of software experience on both. So, yes, the iPhone 10 looks newer, it was more expensive, and everything like that. Realistically, because Apple does the software per the chipset inside, they are both going to be getting pretty much the same software experiences on both. So, the iPhone 10, it's probably going to be lasting around the same time as the iPhone 8 or vice versa, even though this iPhone was more expensive. But that doesn't mean they're going to be getting the same features. The iPhone 10 already has that back tap feature that came with the other versions of software, but with something like the iPhone 8, it doesn't have that gesture-based design, which I'm not a huge fan of. I love the gesture-based design. I don't mind the home button. I love Touch ID a lot. I like Touch ID more than Face ID, but I don't like having to click the button every single time, and it really does kind of slow things down. If I'm going to go and click here, for example, if I go and click out of it, I have to like kind of wait for the home button, versus with something like the iPhone 10, it's kind of already there. With the gesture-based design, I click on it, it's so much more fluid, I can just kind of move on with my life, and it's so much faster. So I'll demonstrate that in the speed comparison, but although the software longevity is going to be the same, I think the software experience is much better on the iPhone 10. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these iPhones. The iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8 both have that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it, but as I mentioned before, the difference between these is that the iPhone 10 has 3 gigabytes of RAM and the iPhone 8 has 2 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster iPhone between both of these. Okay, there we go. Hopefully I cleared out all the apps in the background, and this one is clear on the iPhone 8. The iPhone 10 is clear out as well. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls. 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing. Let's do music. 3, 2, 1. I think they were on different panels, so we'll probably have to kind of let this one kind of breathe a little bit. But with something like the iPhone 10, I mean, they probably would have been about the same anyway. Let's go and do cameras. 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing there too. Let's do photos. 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Not really that big of a difference. Let's go and click into a photo here. Let's do this one. Maybe the iPhone 10 was a little bit faster there, but they were kind of roughly about the same. Hopping out of this one. App stores, 3, 2, 1. Very, very close between one another. If I go and hop out of here, let's go and click into this app. I guess the iPhone 8 did not want to click into it, but if we just go and kind of scroll down from this specific page, funny enough, you can see how much more you're getting into, on your phone, on the iPhone 10 than the iPhone 8. It's a pretty big screen difference. So let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into something like settings, which I don't think is going to show that much. 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 10 was actually faster there by a little bit. Let's go and get into clock. That's another app I want to test. 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 10 was faster there too. And let's go and get into mail. 3, 2, 1. Okay, two different panels too. So let's go and hop into some of these third-party applications that I have on both. So let's get into it. Let's do Fruit Ninja, which I do not have. Very good start. Let's do Thank You. 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 8 was faster there. Very, very interesting. Was not expecting that to happen. Let's do Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. So, but theoretically, they have the same chipset, so they should be around the same speed. So I could see sometimes the iPhone 10 being faster, sometimes the iPhone 8 being faster, and the iPhone 8 here was faster in this specific case. The iPhone 10 it's taken a very long time. I don't know why that iPhone is taking this long, and I don't even think it's going to load into it. So that's very strange. I don't know why that happened on the iPhone 10. So it was still working. I don't know what happened there. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now it looks like the iPhone 10 is definitely much faster than the iPhone 8. They both were on that downloading content panel as well. But it looks like the iPhone 10 got through with that one faster. Looks like the iPhone 8 a little bit behind. Again, not a big deal, but definitely I would say the iPhone 10 was the faster one there. Let's do Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. iPhone 10 faster, iPhone 8 behind. Let's end it off with Dropbox. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 10 is faster, and the iPhone 8 behind. So definitely what I tell you is I think the iPhone 10 is probably the faster one more times than not, but there were some times the iPhone 8 was faster. I think the best way to put it is they both are relatively around the same speed. If any one of them is going to be faster, it's probably going to be the iPhone 10 in my opinion. So that kind of covers it up there. Let's go and hit on the cameras quickly. Like I mentioned, dual camera setup on the back of the iPhone 10. iPhone 8 has that single camera setup, and they both can do pretty much the same things, kind of. So 4K 60 on the back, 1080p on the front. The big thing to keep in mind, no telephoto lens on the iPhone 8. That doesn't mean no portrait mode on the iPhone 8 or anything like that either. Now with the iPhone 8's camera, I think when it first came out, it was okay. I think nowadays it is kind of a little bit dated. And I think the main reason for that basically is because the iPhone 8 is lacking any extra sensors. Because the iPhone SE3 has the same camera as this, I think it makes this look a little bit better, and I think it makes the iPhone SE3 look a little bit worse, to be honest. With something like the iPhone 8 though, I mean, again, no portrait mode, no cinematic mode, nothing like that. We're kind of stuck in a situation where this iPhone camera could have been better, but it wasn't. So it's kind of a strange situation, but back in 2017, this was 5 years ago, I think this is a decent 5-year-old camera, but I think the iPhone 10 is way better. Now this camera isn't even perfect nowadays either with the iPhone 10, but you have that telephoto lens which allows you to zoom in into a bunch of different, your landscape that you're in. The photos are relatively the same though, but you do have this portrait mode option on the iPhone 10 which is really cool. So it allows you to add a little bit more customizability to your device which is really cool, and I love that feature as well. You can still shoot, videos and photos and all those things that are the same as well, but I think the iPhone 10 is probably the better camera when it comes down to it. And to be completely honest, I probably do think that the iPhone 10 is the way better phone here, not only because of the way it looks and everything, but the way that you just kind of go through the whole entire software. They are more similar than not, but the bodies couldn't be any different. Like, they are so different. I love having that gesture-based design. I love scrolling through and maneuvering through the whole entire UI. It's so nice. It's still a choppier experience than most new iPhones, but I love the fluidity of that gesture-based design, which is so nice. With something like the iPhone 8, I don't think it's a bad phone either, but you are getting a better phone on the iPhone 10 because they are so similar in the used market. The iPhone 10 is definitely a more expensive phone in the used market. I would definitely just decide going for the iPhone 10 in this case, going for the iPhone 8. But it is what it is, and I really don't think you can make a bad choice here compared to these phones. But the iPhone 10 is a way better phone in my opinion. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.